True Northern Hustle is built for Canadians who are passionate about business, entrepreneurship, and community. If you have a few minutes, we'd love to hear from you. Take our short listener survey using the link in the show notes.
What does it really take to build a beloved small business that survives 25 years of change from handwritten receipts to AI-driven e-commerce? Welcome to True Northern Hustle, a podcast from Interact that offers an honest look at the grit, creativity, and resilience behind the Canadian small businesses we know and love. I'm your host, Isabel Lee. Today we'll be discussing a story that captures everything the show is about: grit, intuition, and a deep commitment to community. For more than 25 years, Kol Kid has been a must-visit shop for families in Toronto. And today I'm talking to its founder, Lisa Miyasaki. Someone who opened her doors long before social media and online shopping and has kept her business thriving through every shift since. Lisa shares how she trusts her instincts to take a leap of faith, how she learned to adapt from handwritten receipts to e-commerce and AI, and why staying curious has always been the key to her longevity. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate you spending the time to have this chat on this podcast. Let's just start at the beginning. What inspired you to create Kol Kid?
Well, I think that I always had an entrepreneurial spirit and really was inspired by my first son, Cole. He was born with special needs, so he did inform a lot of the buying decisions in the beginning, for sure.
In your own words, can you tell us about your business?
Kol Kid is a store meant to capture your imagination. I'm trying to create an emotional response from people. There is nothing more sinful than having a toy store that is boring. So that's why I have things dripping from the ceiling, mobiles and lights around certain areas. It's just to create a warmth. That was my goal. It was about building an experience. So in terms of buying, yes, a lot of the baby infant toys were definitely inspired by Cole. But in addition to that, the store and its contents are my childhood. You may not get the reference as a customer coming in. I bought that because that was from my childhood.
I mean, quite frankly, what you've described sounds magical. And I feel like that is the environment that you've likely created. And what a great place to work every day. I mean, to walk into an environment that you've curated, that's the dream.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's like Christmas every day.
Amazing. And was there something specific that you were looking for in terms of the items that you wanted to stock in your store?
I think I was hyper aware of child development. And so I was interested in toys that would encourage certain milestones. And I was really not interested in toys that kind of did the playing for you. So it was always going to be about open-ended play.
And was Cole involved in any of the choices in the beginning?
He had very extraordinary special needs. He wouldn't have been able to do it in a vocal way, but I understood what he liked. He hated electronic noises. It would just send him through the roof. And he was really into things that had texture, as a lot of kids probably are. A lot of young children would rather hold something that reverberates back to them, whether it's wood or fabric, rather than plastic.
If you can think back to when you first started Kol Kid, making the decision to sign the lease, finding the perfect home for Kol Kid, it's a big, scary decision. But what was that experience like?
It was such a long time ago. It was a friend of mine who had the space, but was moving across the street. And she said, "The store is available. Why don't you take it?" So I quit my job.
Wow.
And she said, "The trade shows are happening in 2 weeks." She was like, "I'll walk with you for the first haul so you see what I'm doing, and then you're on your own." I remember that vividly. And it was very stressful because it's kind of like, if I build it, will they come? It was very scary. I mean, I was a single mother. I had a child with special needs. And most people would think I was crazy. But you follow your bliss.
Amazing. I mean, as I said earlier, clearly it has worked. So you mentioned that intuition plays a big role in how you run the store. How do you know when it's right to trust your gut, and especially when it comes to tough decisions?
I just have always throughout my life have learned just to trust my gut. My instincts are always usually 90% on. So it goes with anything in life, right? It goes with meeting people, understanding people at this level, buying. But you do have to trust your buy. There's a lot of things that go into buying, but I just buy what I like. And it's worked out. There's going to be that 10% margin of error where it doesn't sell either because of price or because of timing or people don't understand it. So then you move on. But it doesn't mean that's always going to be that way.
What would you say is one of the biggest challenges you faced with your business, and how did you persevere to push through?
When I started the business, we didn't even have a computer. I was handwriting receipts for a couple of years. Like it was crazy. You have to move with the technology and the times. And because when I started, it was the yellow pages. Do you remember the yellow pages? And they would dump the yellow. It was like, that was how people found you. It was like on the yellow pages. It wasn't online. So, and then developing a web store, you constantly have to be engaged and learning, which for me at sometimes I start to hyperventilate. I think I've got to learn all this stuff again and new stuff, and it makes me uncomfortable, but I have to do it. And I'm glad it forces me to do it because I think it's important.
I mean, I think it's something that entrepreneurs don't necessarily think about when starting a business, right? It comes back to, I want to open a business and this is what I want to sell, but there's all of the things that is a part of owning a business and being successful, which I think as you mentioned earlier, you need to have the wherewithal to be able to look up the answers and do the research and do your homework and be well-versed because I'll talk to the payments piece of it, how that has evolved from taking credit card slips. I'm sure you had the manual imprinter.
And we still do in the basement, yeah.
And having to bring those over to the bank to deposit today where with your e-commerce store, being able to take transactions on your e-commerce store. So you've been in business now for over 25 years. So when it comes to your payment options and providing your customers with different payment options, have you noticed those fees increasing over the years? Have you been able to leverage other payment options or alternative payment options to help control some of those fees?
Well, I think CFIB is doing a lot to help regulate and keep those fees from increasing significantly. But obviously using Interac is one way that we're able to control these costs. So the convenience of being able to receive payments on a very low fee is really important because credit card fees are not only high, but different credit cards, the ones that are reward-based have higher fees. The idea of a lot of people trying to take a percentage cut in sales, whether it's your POS or your web provider, if you're associated with them, they're going to want to pressure you into using their payment provider, in which they take a 1% cut off the top.
So how does a business owner who is really interested in just selling toys, how do they get educated on choosing the right payment provider and the payment options that they have?
A lot of payment processors will reach out to you as a small business multiple times a day, offering the cheapest solution. But the cheapest solution is probably Interac. It's not like on a percentage of the entire sale. It's like a cents per transaction.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point there. And so for those who don't know, interchange is charged on credit card transactions, and that is usually a percentage of the total transaction, whereas Interac debit transactions are charged at a flat fee. Kol Kid has become more than a storefront. It's a part of families' memories, just like we were just talking about. How has building these long-term customer relationships helped to shape your journey?
I'll always remember my first customer and their child. And then you see them now they're in university or finish now university. But you do have a growth period because I carry such a range of product. So you'll see families come in and out for 8 years. And then it pivots to another group of families. It's lovely, actually.
It must mean so much to be able to have that sense of community and be able to watch, the young child that came into your store, then come in. As they grow up, you're kind of watching them grow. And then, hopefully one day they'll come back with their child and the whole process continues. So looking back, are there any words of wisdom or advice that you would share with other entrepreneurs who are just looking to start out, maybe to talk about longevity or or how you've adapted with some of the changes that have happened and really staying true to their original vision.
It does help to talk to other people in business because they've been through it. They've made the mistakes and they can guide you. I think that's a no-brainer. As a business, you do have to have enough money to start it. You have to have enough inventory. You have to have enough product and enough product range.
That makes a lot of sense. From the customers that come through your door to the city around you, how has your local community influenced your journey as an entrepreneur?
I think when we started out, it was a lot of people directly within the Trinity Bellwoods area, but that's now expanded. My reach is probably up to High Park, up to the Annex, and people do travel in. There aren't a lot of stores like mine. It's kind of one-stop shopping. If you don't live close, we're not going to see you every week, but when you come in, it's a significant event, right? And I get a lot of tourists in. Our business is built on community, and that's important for kind of everyday business and growth. I'm very grateful to Queen Street West and the community as a whole. When COVID hit, I was thinking I might be closed for a year because we didn't know. And my web store was flooded with sales. You can imagine like we were closed, but I still hit the same sales volume, but online.
That's amazing.
So it was remarkable. And I think that Canadians really understood that small business is the back. People didn't want to lose small business. COVID made people realize how important small business was. And people did everything they could to support small business. It saved us, really.
I love that. I think there's a stat that I had seen was 97% of Canadian businesses are small businesses, which is amazing, right? And they are the lifeblood of our economy. And I think you're right. When COVID hit, Canadians really rallied around the small business brands. And I love that your website blew up. I will admit, your website is a lot of fun to be on.
Oh, good. Well, I tried to replicate, like, your website should always feel like you're having the same experience as if you were in store.
For sure. Big thank you to Lisa for sharing her story with us. And what's today's takeaway? Trust your gut, adapt to change, and stay connected to your community. These are the ingredients to create a long-lasting business. We're committed to supporting Canadian small business owners and honoring the time that they share with us. In that spirit, today's guest was compensated for their contribution to this episode. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to follow True Northern Hustle wherever you get your podcasts. And for more tools and resources designed to support small business owners across Canada, please visit interact.ca. Thanks for listening.